Well, you do the lights and everything. Wow.
When people tell you that dreams don't come true, tell them about Rudy. Maybe you've heard that phrase before. I know I've looked at it for years as the poster to the Emmy Award-winning movie Rudy is hung in my bonus room. As a high school football player, as a father, as the founder of a company, the inspirational story of Rudy lives inside of each and every one of us. Today, I have the good fortune of welcoming to the Think Bigger Real Estate podcast somebody who I would now be able to call a friend, Mr. Rudy Ruttiger. Stay with us, folks. This is going to be an episode that is going to be an exciting one. Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate podcast, where big thinking, high achieving real estate agents come to build successful businesses and significant lives. All right, everybody, I'm excited to introduce the one and only Rudy Ruttiger. Rudy, such a pleasure to have you on the Think Bigger Real Estate podcast, my friend.
Yeah, that's great. I know I know what you're going through. The interest rates. Oh my Lord.
Being in the real estate industry, it's been
Yeah,
an interesting ride. Some might equate it to being 5'0" 100 and
right.
trying to get on the Notre Dame field with that shiny gold helmet. So it's maybe some odds are stacked against those of us in this industry, and I believe that we can all look to you for inspiration. I want to kick this
Well,
off. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Rudy.
No. They did a business review on the movie Rudy. I don't know if you knew this or not.
Mm-mm.
It's a wonderful review. The movie Rudy is filled with moving and motivational business strategies for many small businesses. Owners will find relevant. Isn't that cool?
That is
And
cool.
yeah, and they name them, of course, and it's kind of neat how they looked at that movie, looked at business strategies. I loved it.
As I mentioned, as I was kicking off this episode, the story of Rudy lives inside of all of us.
Mhm.
I guess my question to you is kicking off is, did you realize, or better, how does it feel to know that your simple story coming from a small town, simply pursuing a dream, is it humbling at times to think that God took your simple story and has inspired millions of people with it?
Well, God has a way of acknowledging certain things with people, making people like examples and uh, giving them the purpose in life. And it's like Jesus. What he talked 25-mile radius in his flip flops. you know,
Yeah.
he's the most well-known human being ever. So the word I think that I want to choose to say is hope. When we can give people hope, and that's a big deal because we all need hope, some type of hope. And your faith is so important for that, to have a dream bigger than you, have a purpose bigger than you. And things seem to work out if you understand that. A lot of us think it's all about us, and it's not. It's much bigger. It transcends me, of course. The movie transcends football, Notre Dame. And it's not football, of course, the movie. If it was, they made a big mistake because they only played 27 seconds. So it's not about football. It's more about the journey to that moment that we all dream about. And what planted that seed early on in our life as we were children, imitating heroes, imitating moments, imitating whether we want to be a singer, dancer, a ball player, teacher, coach, whatever inspires us, or a businessman, or be part of a business, or you know, do all the things that makes you feel alive and good. And I think that's the energy that I love when I meet people. I talked to all the fire chiefs in California last week, and all the heroes there, and I heard so many great stories when I talk to them. You hear their stories, and you hear they really give their life up for us, and they're
Yeah.
selfless. It's like the guys in 9/11 when they were going up to the towers, ladder 9. There were 30 guys going up. They were all hugging each other. Uh, not They were saying goodbye basically to each other. So you think about those moments what are we about? You know, what's our purpose? And that's when I felt the movie Rudy has a great the story because everyone had a dream, everyone had a uh, fallback or a setback, and how do you get through those moments? And how do you keep that dream alive? And there's a secret sauce. It's called faith, and that's the key.
Talk to us about those moments, obviously portrayed in the movie. So I'd love to hear how accurately depicted it was, where you were getting beat up, right? I
Well,
mean,
a movie's a movie, as you know, Justin. I mean, they really showed the real. Um, I call wow, the arcade. How can you say this? Um, it was soft in the movie. The hits, reality. Uh, I mean, you had to tame it down because when you're playing football, it's a violent sport. It's like 2 cars going at each other at 30 miles an hour and just hitting each other. And today it's even worse because the athletes are much more trained and are better in shape. They're faster, they're quicker, and all that. And you see this, holy cow, how do these guys do it? And when we were going through our football and sports, as you know, has a purpose to give communities, to put people together. Uh, and there's no judgment on teams, which I mean by that, we don't ask a guy his religion on the right or the left. We don't ask him are you Republican or Democrat? All we want to know, can I trust you? You know, that's it. Will you do your job? And that's becoming a team member that we all become accountable for who we are, what we are. And if we can live that way by good work habits and get better each day, where would we be 20, 30 years from now? That's like in any business. What if things don't work out today, but you keep preparing for tomorrow and you'll be ready for that moment when things do get better? And that's most people give up when it gets hard, when it gets tough. And that's what sports kind of taught me when I was young. You get through those tough moments with your teammates and your friends by empowerment and encouragement. Then you're going to have the naysayers, of course, and they will try to hold you back. Either they're so competitive, they don't want to see you get ahead instead of helping you become better than what you are. And in turn, it's helping them get better, and that's why I love business because when we collaborate, we're helping each other get better, and we're all in business for one reason to get better and take care of ourselves. But when you're selfish, you don't have a culture. When you're non-selfish, you have a wonderful culture. You become selfless. It's a team. That's the culture that I believed in, and that's where I went uh, towards the University of Notre Dame, but you had to accomplish a lot of things before you get there, or even say, I belong here. I believe I did, but there's a lot of work to be done. Sometimes you got to start from the beginning. And for that, you had to go to class. When I was in school, I didn't like class. I didn't like going to school because I didn't feel right in the classroom because I had a learning disorder. And when you don't feel right in that classroom, you can't learn. But things change over time if you allow the right people around you and the right empowerment and the right people to coach you through your what you're going through. And I think that's important. And I allowed that. I let the bad guys go away. I call them bad. The negative guys go away and put the good guys on my team. The guys who never, they weren't judgmental. They didn't put you down. They just wanted you to win and win as a team member, not as an individual. And that's what I like. It's a brotherhood. And that's what I found in the military when I was in the Navy. You know, when I see these kids going on missions, they are, and I think about the kids. There are two guys. They're going to learn more about themselves than they are learning other people. because when they come back, they become better people because they know the tough times of life. That's what the military taught me. You had to learn to adjust with people, learn to adjust in situations, and you had to adapt, and you had to keep your head positive and keep moving forward. And I think that's what helped me was the military, to put myself in that proper order of making better choices, staying focused on who I am, not what I was told I was. I believed in what was given to me, my dream. And I followed that dream and I fought for that dream. And that's what it's about. Now, you don't have to be the best to be in that dream. Just be a great contributor and you will have your dream fulfilled. And I only look 7 seconds to change my life. That's all I had. And I did it. That's because it took 27 years to do that. That's because of all the things you have to go through. Sometimes you got to restart. You got to have a restart. That's okay. But you're changing friends and you're changing cultures and you're changing attitudes, changing all these strategies that makes you successful. And I think that's why the movie Rudy works for a lot of people. Um, they don't look at it whether it was true. They look at the planning of it and the business and the goal. And they look, oh, you need a plan, you need a goal. That's what we need. And as a football player, you need a plan. You got to go to school. And your goal is to get good grades. If you can't get good, ask for help. Ask people around you for help. And they help you get those good goals and good grades. So the plan was, and that was taught to me in the military, collaboration. So I learned to use that important uh, tool that they gave me, and it helped me fulfill my goals. Um, there was a cost to that. It's called time because we only have so much time. But when you have the time, use your time properly. Then that strategy. What's your strategy for doing that? That's when you go for help, and people do, believe it or not, they give you a strategy. They give you goals you can succeed in and exceed in, and that's called work ethic. And once you commit to that, things change, and just be patient with yourself. So I had the consistent right actions once knew where I had to go and what I needed to go. When I found out everything that was told to me earlier was just fake information and fake people. And I got around the people who believed in themselves, who believed in you, who were selfless, and made me a better person. And that's when the dream of Notre Dame, the dream of the movie, was on through inspiration, because my dad inspired me uh, through hard work. 14 in the family. He worked 3 jobs to put food on the table, roof over our head. And our mother, she was the orchestrator of positive thoughts. So all those things you had to work as a team there as well. So you learn the strategy through family planning early on and how you all worked with each other. You all had to do chores, you had to do work with your sisters, work with your brothers, even though you had some difficult times, you had to learn how to fight through that and work through that. So that was a commitment to the family, become good brothers and become good leaders. I hate being a sheep. I like if I like taking charge, and I like saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. Let's do it and do it." Uh, so I never became a follower, and sometimes you were put down because of that because you're not doing what they want you to do. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Be a good guy. Do the right things and make the right choices with the right people, and you are going to be good. That's kind of like how I looked at it. So everything fell in place with the movie. Everything fell in place with Notre Dame. There's so many roadblocks along the way, but you get through them because of your attitude. And yeah, Rudy, how do you get persistence? Well, just it's automatic when you believe in a dream and it's bigger than you. It's like building a business. You see it, you dream it, you see it, you plan it, and you execute it. It's that simple. Execution is the hard part. Planning is not that hard, but man, dreaming it is fun. Seeing it is exciting, but doing it is the hard part, and that's where the work comes in. So if that helps,
Yeah, it does. My, the interesting thing is I think about your story, and as I've said previously, it's all of us have a similar story. We have different goals, we have
yes,
different dreams, we have
yeah,
different set of capacities, but life's journey, I think, is very similar for all of us. This
yeah,
journey of mortality, I think, is meant to be hard, and I think many of us
yeah,
miss that. Is that
mhm.
wait? I must be doing something wrong. It's hard. I think had we been put on this earth to make it easy, we'd miss the opportunity for growth. Right? All growth happens against resistance, and when we start to embrace that and be like, okay, this is what life's supposed to be like. There's supposed to be headwinds. It's supposed to be challenging because I'm supposed to grow. And without any of that resistance, I don't grow. And
You don't grow, right?
and
And I
and
like that, Justin, what you said, because that's so true. And you're challenged on many different when you think you have made it, you haven't made it yet. You got to keep moving and get better. See, it's getting better is a key. Just can't become complacent. It's like look what's happening in the real estate world today. I live in Las Vegas, and homes have just stopped being bought, and this building is being slowed down. But
Mhm.
hey, the visionaries are buying land right now because they
Mhm.
know it's going to come back, which is that's the
Yeah.
positive business outlook you need. And some people don't look at the glass half full; they look at it as half empty. You know, and that's where they need to build up their confidence in what they're doing. That's the hard part, I think. Uh, there's a lot of smart people do a lot of. If you need an answer, go to a smart guy. He'll give you the answer. I'm not going to go to no dumb guy. When I mean the dumb guy won't do the research and development, the smart guy will ask questions and do the research as a critical thinker. Now that guy, I like that critical thinking type of guy because if you don't know the answer, he's going to find out the answer. That's what we need to be more critical thinkers.
I think as I consider what you just shared there about how some people respond during times of resistance, right? Some lay down
Mhm.
with the cup half empty, while others recognize that principle that we just spoke to, which is there's going to be resistance. If you want joy, and the purpose of like man is that they might have joy, right? Like the purpose of life
Right.
is to be happy. We're not here to be miserable. We're here to be happy. And if that's the case, growth is directly tied to happiness and to joy. Like you don't get joy, you don't get happiness without growth, and you don't get growth without resistance. And so therefore, the pathway to joy is resistance. And then if you stop and look back and say, guess what? And everybody's in a similar situation. Therefore, I need to find avenues to help other people, right? One through charitable service and another through creating businesses and business plans and
Yeah.
strategies, which you're talking about, Rudy, to
Yeah.
actually help people navigate the resistance because there's a market for that and there always will be. And it's
Oh
going to
my.
look different, but it's going to always be there.
A lot of people ask me, why is Utah such a good place for people to have businesses? Because they all go on a mission and they come back with a strategy and they come back with an understanding of what they need to do. They've been through the development of the self-esteem and the confidence in their faith because there are certain things they have to do. And the reason I say that is about 9 o'clock every night, I go buy a Jersey Mike's sub and I cut it and I go out and look for homeless people.
Oh, amazing.
And some people don't want that little sub. They rather have leave me alone, give me a needle type of thing.
Hmm.
And you go to the next guy. So you got to know who to look for now with the homeless people. And I learned who to look for. So I look for a guy struggling, a guy who wants to do better, but he's having a tough time. The other night, I go to ner- I go to the little Green Valley store, and I knew this kid was struggling. He's just having tough times. I says, "Hey man, when's the last time you ate?" He says, "I haven't." I said, "Hey, you want a sub?" He said, "Oh man, that's really awesome." And when you gave him that sub, it was like giving him $1 million. And when I walked away, I heard a lady say, "That was so sweet." And I said to myself, well, why didn't you do that? Because she's programmed not to help.
Yeah.
That's why. And if we help enough people get better, things do change. So my whole point is, and I think, was I always talk about the missionaries because I see them all the time. I'm in Vegas, and they're on their bikes late at night, and I said, "Hey, dudes, you're not riding that bike home at night, are you? Jump in my truck and put the bikes in the truck. I'll take you home."
That's kind of you.
Yeah, but those are the things you need to do. Just little things, and it's not big. It's just a little help you do with people. And when they come to, I talk. You're LDS, correct?
I am.
And so you've been on a mission, correct?
Yep.
And your job is to help people, uh, and just service people. That's a wonderful thing. That's why you're good in businesses because you know that program. That's why technology. Did you see what's happening? And they're going to build a baseball stadium now. They also Major League Baseball stadium, and then they built a hockey arena before they had a hockey team. Guess what? Now they
How
have a hockey team, but they had a hockey arena before they had the hockey. It's the visionaries that see, hey, we need to do this because that's coming. You know, so visionaries are very important. And I mean, I don't know. I just love entrepreneurs that think like that. I love That's what I had to do with the movie. I had to see it before it happened. But if you go to someone and tell them what you're seeing, you're gonna think you're nuts. You're crazy. Get out of here. That's the guy you don't wanna share your dream with or share your goal with, man. You gotta get what the guy said, "When we doing it, man?" That's the guys I start hanging with and start making a difference.
and
So
this isn't meant to be political, but I did hear the news. Ronald Reagan found his way to the presidency
right.
because he would always like people ask like, what was your path to success? And he said, I would surround myself with people who said I could at every level, all the way from being a Hollywood movie or a football player to a Hollywood movie star
Yeah.
to the governor of Arizona to the president of the United States. He said, when people say you can't do that, I quit hanging out with those people. The people who said you can do that, I just spent more time with those people. It's really quite simple,
Dude,
right?
I
Just surround
didn't think
yourself with the visionaries, people who believe in you.
yeah, I didn't think I thought like Reagan. That's pretty cool, you know? Uh, he played the Gipper too
Yeah,
in the movie, um, well, the Gipper.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Newt Rockney, All-American. But the whole point is, my struggle with Notre Dame was we already have our movie. That was, no, we don't want to do another movie. We have our movie. What they were saying, we have our marketing piece.
Mhm,
We got our people believing in Newt Rockney, the Gipper, right?
mm,
I said, no, wait a minute. That's the wrong message you got in that movie. But you can't say that to them. The message is not about football or the Gipper or Newt Rockney. It's football and sports and everything's more about life, journey, the lessons you learn. But you can't tell people that until you find the right person. So the patience has to come in. Your patience and belief and keep moving. Took 10 years to put Rudy together, uh,
wow.
but find the right people. But you've been through what you find out when you're on the wrong people. You find out what not to do, then you
Mm,
do what not to do. Uh, it's like I don't think I've ever seen uh, this in I don't know. I tell I'm one of 14. And I say this all the time to them, but I don't see it in their family sometimes. Um, hey, don't do what mom and dad did. Learn from mom and dad. Mom and dad, they didn't have a book from heaven how to raise us, man. They were just go on survival mode, bro. So don't do what they did, because some of the things they did were wow. I wouldn't do that to my kid, you know. Or yeah, I would be more of a. They didn't have time to do but they showed a lot of love, and they gave us something we thought we didn't have that we have was called character. So that was the gift, but learn how to change. And when you learn how to change, because they changed over time to the mistakes they made, with us, and they changed over time. But some of my brothers didn't see that. They stuck to their how mom and dad raised us. And my dad always says, "Don't do what I do. Learn from what I did wrong, and do it right." You know, and that's so important. I never forgot that, and that's what we do in business. That's what we do every day.
I've got two questions. I know you've got to go here in just a minute. I'm so appreciative of your time. What an honor to spend time with you, and again, now be able to call my childhood mentor, my friend.
Thank
Um,
you.
the when you're in that moment, and people are either telling you that you can't, or yourself, worse, you
Right,
start to have self doubts. What
right.
is it that you did and do to overcome that? Because if the name of the game is have a
Yeah,
goal,
I'm glad
have a
you asked
vision,
that. Yeah,
pursue that
yeah,
with
yeah.
how do you overcome the self doubt?
Wow, that's great. You said that's a great question. I showed it kind of in the movie. You go pray,
Mm,
and you go in silence, and you get away from all the noise, and you talk to God, and you have that relationship, and you get certain feelings. You got to learn how to trust those feelings. You know, you know what's right and wrong. Trust me.
yeah.
And sometimes we go against that because of narratives we hear or people we hang around. Go with the feeling that's good. Never take a risk with your life. Take a risk with your dream. My brother's a police officer, right? Not my brother was. He's retired, but my son's a police officer. He told me a story last night. I'm going to share this with you. He says, Dad, I had to give stop a guy last night, and uh, as I looked in his car, I was going to arrest him, and because I smelled marijuana, he had two kids in the back and his wife in the front seat, and he was having a tough time. So as I questioned him, I started learning their story that they're not bad people; they're just having tough times. And I made the decision to give him a break because I looked in the back seat. I saw how one of the children, I mean, he was a cerebral palsy, and the other little guy was and they were living in their car is what they were doing. And he said, I couldn't do that to them, but I'm going to help them by letting say, hey, dude, what you need to do is get your life straight and start doing it because you have the ability to get a job and do something right. And let's get this is in order. So I'm going to give you a warning. Drive with your lights on, not off. He said, "But now, if it was another police officer, I think they would have, gave him a ticket." And then he found out he had a suspended license. But he says, "You need to get that fixed." So my point is, a certain time we help people with common sense
Mhm.
and your empathy. God's telling you what to do. Listen to that, and He did. And sometimes we get a bunch of boneheads that I call them boneheads. Oh, you give them some authority and they think they're the guy. Wait, there is a God and you're not him, you know? So understand that. And that's one of the lines we put in the movie as well. So silence and understanding, looking at the situation, your common sense that you're given, and your empathy, your heart, you go a long way because you make better choices and decisions. And when you give a person a break in life that needs it, you don't know what he's going to become or what he's going to do for you. I have kids hire me now to speak that I spoke 20 years ago in school, in middle school or high school. They're CEOs because they look at you. How old are you? 30 years old. You look like, you
I'm
know,
45, but thanks.
45.
Hey,
That's no 30. You were 15 years old when the movie came out,
okay.
right? And my whole point, all those years, guys like you are hiring me to speak to their companies
Mm,
because they grew up with the movie Rudy.
yeah.
And when I speak, I feel alive. You feel like, hey man, this is cool. You know, even what we're saying, what we're talking about, is not difficult information. It's common sense information. You know, if you're having a hard time, just hey, go ask somebody, go have a peaceful moment, talk to God, you'll be fine. You know?
So a couple fun facts. This is the 450th episode of the
Nice.
Think Bigger Real Estate podcast, which it's very perfect because you're number 45, right?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and we actually share a birthday. If the birthday that was portrayed in the movie is the right birthday,
My
then
mother had the right birthday to her, but it was the wrong date in reality because I was born on the 22nd. She always celebrated me on the 23rd. So we're still good to my
we're
mother.
close. We're close. But, there was always that connection of like, man, this guy
Yeah,
is me.
absolutely.
I feel like I've always been the underdog, and
Yeah.
your underdog story has inspired me. So I know we're out of time, Rudy. It's been such a
No,
pleasure.
no, no. You keep that chip on your shoulder, man. You're gonna go a good chip, and
Yeah,
that's what keeps you moving. And Justin, let's do this again.
I'd love to.
And we will do it again. Just call Cheryl and we'll make it happen. Get your host on next time.
She'd love to be here. All right, Rudy, such a pleasure, my friend. Keep
God bless
inspiring
you, my
people.
brother. You bet. And talk to you soon.
Sounds good. In the meantime, everybody, go think bigger. Thanks, Rudy, for helping us do that today, my
Yeah,
friend.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Now, before you go, remember, big thinkers and high achievers take action. Here's one way to do this. Find me on social media and send me in a direct message one aha that you're going to take action